Hey everyone, it's Jenny. Today I thought I would share with you a little folk tale that I learned from my mentor Mary. It's a really fun one that a lot of people probably already know, the enormous turnip. But Mary used to do it in this really fantastic way where she would really engage with the children and the grown-ups by singing a little chorus in the middle of the story. So let's go ahead and get started. This one is the enormous turnip. Once upon a time, there lived a farmer in a little small cottage at the very tippy top of a hill. And in that cottage, he lived with his wife, his son, his daughter, and their little baby. Well, every year, that farmer would walk down the hill all the way to the bottom valley. And in that valley was his garden. He planted tomatoes and peas and lettuce and turnips galore, and every year he would water them every single day, and the sun would shine every single day until those plants were growing and growing nice and strong and sweet. Well, when it was finally harvest time, the farmer came running down the hill with his baskets, and he began picking all the vegetables. He picked the peas and the tomatoes and the lettuce and the turnips, and when he got to the last turnip green to pull out of the ground, he tried to pull, and he pulled, and he pulled, but the turnip would not come out. Huh. Well, the farmer didn't know what to do. So he looked up to the house all the way at the top of the hill, and he called out, "Oh, wife, I need you." So the wife came running down the hill, and she saw exactly what needed to be done. So the wife held the farmer, and the farmer held the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, but the turnip would not come out. Well, if having the wife and the farmer didn't work, what could help them pull out that turnip? Luckily, the wife was a smart lady. She looked up toward the house, and she knew that her daughter was in the kitchen washing dishes. So she called, "Oh, daughter, we need you." And the daughter, all the way up on the hill inside the house, she heard her mom calling. So she came running down the hill, and she knew exactly what needed to be done. So the daughter held the wife, and the wife held the farmer, and the farmer held the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, but the turnip would not come out. Well, they were getting very tired indeed, trying to pull out that stubborn turnip. But the daughter knew that her brother could help. So she looked up the hill, and she called out, "Oh, brother, we need you." And the brother, who was playing in the yard, heard his sister all the way down at the bottom of the hill in the farm. And he came running down the hill, and he saw exactly what needed to be done. So the brother held the sister, and the sister held the mother, and the mother held the father, and the father held the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, but the turnip would not come out. Oh, all four of them tried so very hard to get that turnip out of the ground, but it was not coming out. It was stubbornly stuck. But they all knew there was one last family member who could help them. Do you remember who that family member was? The baby, that's right. So they all looked up to the hill, and they called, "Baby, we need you." And the baby was sound asleep in his crib, but his eyes popped open, and he crawled out of the crib, and he crawled and crawled and crawled all the way down that hill until he got to the bottom and saw exactly what needed to be done. So the baby held the son, and the son held the daughter, and the daughter held the mother, and the mother held the father, and the father held the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, and the turnip came popping out. Well, that night, after finally getting the turnip out of the ground, they had a big pot of turnip stew. And do you know who ate the most of all? That little baby. And that's the story of the enormous turnip.